anything. We haven't broken any rules.
Name one person whose life was so much better because they broke a couple of rules.
Picasso.
He broke art rules.
Rosa Parks.
Name another
Susan B. Anthony.
God damn it.
Sorry, I couldn't see John Wick 3 this weekend. My week has been so rammed with other projects, but I did get to see this a few weeks back at an early screening. So, Booksmart, on the face of it, looks like a fun but pretty generic offbeat comedy about two teenage girls who are about to graduate high school, having dedicated all their time to studying, only to discover that even the students who partied and had fun also got into great colleges.
I'm incredible at hand jobs, but I also got a 1560 on the SATs.
So to make up for lost time, Amy and Molly, played by Caitlin Dever and Bernie Feldstein respectively, decide to take part in the party to end all parties on the eve of their graduation. It's a fun premise but well worn, especially if you've been paying attention to the filmography of Adam McKay and Will Ferrell, who are executive producers of Booksmart, and if you watch the trailer, you would think that the movie is kind of been there, done that. However, I come to you today as someone who is probably the exact opposite of this movie's target demographic, to say that Booksmart is head and shoulders the best movie I have seen in 2019 so far, and it bloody blew my mind. See, the premise is well worn, but what makes Booksmart such a brilliant comedy isn't just its sublime approach to humour, quotable lines and great performances bolstered by great editing, but its consistently strong character work, mainly due to our two leads having incredible chemistry with each other. You'd think these two actors have been best friends for years by the way they interact with each other and their interplay, which feels so genuine, along with the script giving them their own in-jokes and terminology which never feels overbearing or excluding the audience from the joke. Amy wants to go to a party in order to ask out a girl she's had a crush on for a while, and Molly feels like she has the most to prove by attending, whilst also having her own motives. The two are so likeable with such sympathetic goals that you can't help but root for them over the course of this one night as their best laid plans continually fail, but they improvise their way from one set piece to another in a crisp 105-minute runtime, which never makes the film feel repetitive or overstaying its welcome. These two have such a great connection with each other, and they're a big part of why Booksmart works as well as it does, but another component comes from the film's 4 screenwriters. Normally, having so many writers on a comedy project can make it go downhill fast, and the prior work from writers Emily Halpern, Sarah Haskins, Susanna Fogel, and Katie Silberman is scattershot at best, but all of them have managed to create a fantastic screenplay, which feels tight and efficient, whilst also making sure that every single character arrives fully formed and three-dimensional. When people talk about diversity in film, sometimes it's just as simple as letting women tell female-centric stories, and Booksmart is a prime example of that. As mentioned, I am the opposite of its target demographic, but I can imagine Booksmart being essential viewing for teenage girls, much like Mean Girls was 15 years ago. A lot of its pathos comes from its third-wave feminist views, and I'm talking about actual third-wave feminism here, not the imaginary version that guys on YouTube pretend to get angry about, mainly in that it gives what would have normally been one-off gag characters or mean-spirited stereotypical female high school characters a voice and something to say about their own stereotypes, or in some cases, not even bringing up some of their more taboo traits and just getting on with the story because it's 2019 and it really shouldn't matter at this point. But even if the film script didn't have that going for it, it's still so well structured and paced with such a strong ratio of successful gut-busting laughs and incredible character work that I think it would be a crime against this medium if these women did not receive a nomination at next year's Academy Awards. The Big Sick, Bridesmaids and Lars and the Real Girl got screenplay nominations, so this is not unheard of. On the surface, its humour may feel like it's adopting the template of films like The Hangover or Bridesmaids, but it's actually more in line with 21 Jump Street or Anchorman, a little bit more surreal and stylised without being alienating or overbearing. Despite it debuting on the festival circuit and its more offbeat manner of distribution, Booksmart is incredibly accessible and aims significantly higher than the twee, patronising brand of quirky teen comedies seen in something like Me and Earl and the Dying Girl or Paper Towns, and much more akin to the natural evolution of teenage films like The Edge of 17, The Duff, or Love, Simon. And if any of those 3 films you liked or engaged with, then Booksmart is the film for you. In the cast, we get comedic mainstays like Jason Sudeikis, Maya Rudolph, Lisa Kudrow, Jessica Williams, and Mike O'Brien bolstering the roster, but this film, it belongs to the new generation of talent, including Carrie Fisher's daughter, Billie Lourd, who is absolutely on fire in this movie. That talent also comes comes from behind the camera, as this is the directorial debut of Olivia Wilde. Yes, that Olivia Wilde, and I don't think I've seen such a striking and confident debut since Jordan Peele's Get Out. The film is visually fun and inventive, but also grounded when it needs to be, including what may be one of the most emotionally perfect tracking shots I have seen in a long time. I don't think I've ever seen a movie depict so perfectly the awkwardness of being at a party where you don't know anyone, and that sort of emotional clarity that Booksmart consistently brings to the table was incredibly disarming from what could have been so easily a throwaway teen comedy. Booksmart took me completely by surprise. I adored it from start to finish, and as of late May 2019 is my #1 movie of the year, and I'm giving it 5 stars out of 5.
What more can I say?
Well, this seems excessive. Shotgun. Just kidding. I don't have one.
Trilbee.